to you, I want you to help me announce this. Shh. Look at somebody next to you, look them right in the face. Thank you. And somebody look them in the face. And say to them, neighbor, today we're going to talk about when it's time to go. Look at somebody else on the other side and say, neighbor, let's talk about when it's time to go. Look at one more person around you and say, neighbor, that you didn't look at before. Say, neighbor, God said, it's time to go. Look at Reverend C and say, Reverend C, it's time to go. Today, you all, I want to talk about when it's time to go. Look at me, look at me, look at me. 8th graders, I want to talk specifically to you and talk about when it's time to go. 1st to 7th graders, I'm going to name something different. I'm going to tell you something a little different. Your title is How to Handle Change. 1st to 7th graders, say how. 1st to 7th graders, let me hear you say how. How do I handle change? Everybody look up here. I remember being a little boy at my cousin's house, and usually I would have a lot of fun. My cousin Stevie and Jeffrey, we'd all be outside, and my mother would yell from down the street. I'm gonna tell y'all my nickname. It wasn't EC. I have a nickname that my mama used to call me. But as I got older, she called me by my full name. But sometimes she would say, son. That's not what she said. All right, I'll tell y'all my nickname. She would say, dump. Dump. It's time to go. When I would hear her all the way down the street, I don't care where I was. If we were playing ball, if we were in the field playing softball, if we was at my friend's house playing basketball, at my cousin's house, you could hear her all the way down the street. Dom, it's time to go. Do you think I just stayed there? No. I got up and I left. This week, you all, I thought about a lot of stuff. I had a lot of time to think. I was thinking about you 8th graders. I was actually thinking about the 1st through 7th graders as well, because there's a lot of things about the change. It's now getting ready to be the summer, and so the weather has changed. Some of you are not in summer school. You go to a camp, and so you're around new people. The people have changed. But 8th graders, I thought about you all because this is your last day, your last week in children's ministry. This is a big change for you. You're moving from 8th grade to high school. And 8th graders, when you used to be the oldest in the school, now you're going to be the youngest in the school. You are going to experience a big change. But some other stuff happened this week that made me really think about change. Anybody watch the news this week? Shh, look at me. On a couple of days ago, in the middle of the week, a little girl, 9 years old, was standing outside giving her dog a bath, playing in the water, and gunfire came from a van and killed her. 9 years old, not in 8th grade, not going to high school, but 9 years old. killed, that family has to experience change. Then a man who I watched growing up on The Tonight Show, he was a sidekick from a guy named Johnny Carson. Somebody, when I was your age, I used to stay up sometime on the weekends. On Friday night, I didn't have to go to school the next morning. My mom would let me stay up past 10 o'clock to 10:30. And I would see at least a half hour of The Tonight Show. There was a man named Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon also, when I got older, he was the guy that used to hand out the checks for the million prize winner. They would come to your house and give you money, like $1 million. Ed McMahon died. That's a big change. There was a lady. In fact, all the girls when I was growing up, if they had enough hair, they wore their hair like this lady. And then about 20 years ago, it became a style all across the country. And then about 5 years ago,